When you describe your work, you use such words and phrases as provocations, frictions, unfolding, hybridity, and simultaneity, inhabitable typography, choreography, and seduction, drifting symmetries, beyond project boundaries, amplifying landscape, identity, reciprocal horizons, delaying conclusions, and the fantasy of the future. What would you say is your work about, and what kind of architecture do you try to achieve?
Well, you just
That's a tough one.
it was interesting. You just identified a collection of words, and what's interesting is that for us, it's never about one thing, but it's really trying to find the essence or the essential nature of a place and a provocation, and allow surprise and, in a sense, something compelling that you when you go to the place and you see it built, you can't imagine that it was never there before. And somehow it makes sense of everything around it and draws it in, shapes and reshapes the world it enters. So the reciprocity and the expression together are preoccupations that carry us forward all the time.
Yeah. I think to Marion's point, I think we try to find the DNA in a project. That essential quality. We love the idea. For example, you used a series of nicknames for our buildings that describe the DNA in very effective ways. So we're gonna borrow some of those. But it allows, in your case, or in the case of someone who doesn't know anything about architecture, to quickly recognize the DNA of a project and to have it embedded in their memory. For us, that's probably one of the characteristics of good architecture, good design. The other thing that Marion and I have always been interested in is, obviously there's the kind of reciprocity between open space, landscape, and architecture, but we've always been interested in projects that don't have clear definitions. So the Women's Memorial was not only a memorial, but it housed an exhibition program and offices. So it had a hybrid quality. The Seattle Olympic Sculpture Park, as you know, is a very hybrid project. It's, as someone called it, it's, one of the best examples of landscape urbanism. It's architecture, it's landscape, it's ecology. We always, I think, gravitate toward projects that have this interesting ambiguity and maybe have an interesting question that's being asked. I don't know how to kind of frame it more elegantly, but there's something about the project that I think has always drawn us, where it's a hybrid kind of condition.
I think to add to what Michael's saying, we've only done one private home, for instance, and we haven't.
We'd love to do another
Right.
one, by the way.
We'd love to do another one, but we haven't done corporate projects per se. And I think a lot of it has to do with our commitment to the public realm and an interest in seeing the possibility of all our projects having a public dimension. Because what drew us together in the first place, those two projects in Harlem that we worked on together through the Architectural League, was the fact that it troubled us that architecture was somehow reserved for those who had the means to ask for it and pay for it. But its purpose should be far larger than that. And, if you spent time in Rome and other cities, you know that somehow this had a larger impact on the experience of being a citizen of a city. So our sense is that architecture has a citizenship as a place and as a destination, and that has always been a motivation for us.